Talkin' Country.
You're listening to Talkin' Country with Paul Taylor.
Hi, welcome to my channel, Talking Country, where we'll be chatting to the stars of country music from around the world, whether it's in Nashville, Australia, UK, Ireland. You'll get it here first. If you like us, subscribe and give us the big thumbs up. Hopefully you enjoy it. Well, ladies and gentlemen, it's my pleasure to introduce singer-songwriter all the way from Nashville, Erin Enderlin, to the channel. So, hi, how are you doing?
Hi, I'm doing great. Thanks so much for having me today.
Absolutely fantastic. Thank you for spending a bit of time. I know it's hectic at the moment because you've got quite a bit of new music coming out, haven't you, at the moment?
I've been just working away. Very exciting stuff.
Tell us a little bit more about the new music then, because obviously there's the Campfires covers 3, and then obviously on the back of that, you've got some other new music coming out.
Yeah, so during this whole last year of not being able to tour and things, I finally achieved one of my goals, which was to learn how to record on my computer. And so I started recording just songs that I loved that reminded me why I love music. And it was really inspiring to me through the whole stressful time that was going on. And I got the idea to do, because I've had some fans who really like the way I do covers on different things, just me and my guitar. What if I made an album like that and just recorded it kind of like you would hear sitting around a campfire with one of your friends, just listening to your favorite songs. So I started doing campfire covers, and this will be my 3rd installment now. And there's only 250 copies of each one. So that makes it a little more special too. And I've had some fun packages and things up for sale with them, and it's been really cool. I've been able to play some of my favorite songs in there, and I've even gotten to guest on the Opry a couple of times and play a couple of those songs.
Wow.
In that sacred circle. So that was pretty wild.
Yeah, I mean, everybody who's been there, they've said how much, it's just been phenomenal, and I'll get to go there one day. I've not been to Nashville yet, so I should have been going. I should have gone in April when it was my 60th. It was a big birthday for me. And obviously with COVID, I couldn't go, and we'll get there one day. So, but you've got an amazing array of songs out there. I mean, you've even wrote for some of the great and good, haven't you? Like Alan Jackson, Reba McEntire. Come on.
Yes,
Luke
Reba
Bryan. How was that for you when you got those people to actually agree to sing for you?
It's a real honor, because those folks either are amazing writers themselves, or they have access to literally any song they would want in Nashville. So to have them connect with one of my songs to the point where they want to record it themselves is pretty awesome.
Oh, wow. I mean, are you a huge fan of Reba McEntire? I would imagine you are. Who isn't?
Actually, Reba is she's the main inspiration for me doing this. And I actually last year in 2020 was paired with her for an exhibit in the Country Music Hall of Fame here in Nashville. And they put me in their American Currents, which is their yearly exhibit, as one of their breakthrough artists. And they take folks like I was in there with Yola and Tennille Towns and some awesome folks, Billy Strings.
Yeah.
And they pair them with one of their big influences. So I was paired with Reba. So I remember when I was 16 going to the Country Music Hall of Fame, and I've got a picture standing next to one of Reba's dresses. And now I have a picture of my stage outfit next to Reba's stage outfit in the Hall of Fame.
Was it a red dress that because she sort of like wears the red, doesn't she?
That was not in this exhibit, but that one is there at the Hall of Fame. I think I
have seen that, and actually Reba wearing it on stage. So I have been fortunate to see Reba. So just phenomenal, and to have one of your songs actually. I mean, this is going for our members at the British Country Music Association. I mean, what's the process that you have to go through to actually get one of your songs heard by a record label who then send it out to their artists?
Yeah. There's many different processes and a little bit of a miracle mixed in there, There's a lot of different folks that you can go through. I've been fortunate enough to work with some great publishers and song pluggers. And so generally speaking, like your publisher is kind of the overall body that you're signed to or work with. And then the song pluggers, it could be the head publisher, or it could be other folks that are assigned to you that they really dig into your catalog. They know your songs, and then they get pitch list of who's cutting in town, and they're out there working, talking with record labels, talking with producers to hear what's going on the street, and they'll take your songs to folks. I've taken songs to producers and record labels and to the artists directly themselves. Producers and managers sometimes listen for artists, and a lot of artists, like Reba, listens to tons of songs. I know she's a big song person. I'll give 2 short stories. So Alan, that song came about. I had just started working with my first publisher, Jeff Carlton, who was really awesome at branding new writers.
Yeah.
And he took me in the studio to cut 5 demos, which means I get to go in there with like Eddie Bears, all the great players that you hear on all the records. They do quick versions with my songs. And then he takes those recordings and plays them for folks. So he had actually had that song on hold for a couple of different acts over about the course of a year. And at this time, Keith Stegall had it on hold for Terry Clark, but they were looking they didn't have an exact timeline of when they were going to do their next project. He just kind of liked it for her.
Yeah.
But then Alan had dates to cut, and they were before Terry. And that's the great thing about country artists, especially, they're really respectful of songwriters and kind of knowing that, as they're trying to figure out what they want to do, there's also the timing and everything. So Keith was out at lunch with Alan and said, you know what, there's a song I want to play when we get back to the office. And he played him Monday Morning Church, and Alan loved it. So luckily, I guess, Terry was kind enough to let Alan have it since they were cutting right away. And he recorded it and had Patty Loveless sing harmonies on it.
Yeah. You put Patty Loveless in any kind of mix, and it's like heaven, isn't it? It's just,
oh my God, it's so incredible.
I'm a huge Alan Jackson fan, and Patty Loveless, to be fair, and I think she's the only one who could probably harmonise with Vince Gill. And Alan Jackson, I mean, the new album he's just brought out, it's just knocking it straight into the park. He's telling it as it is, I think, isn't it? There's an underlying tone with the album. Yeah, but yourself, I mean, you're born in Arkansas.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, how did it all start for you there? I mean, was you brought up on country music?
My grandparents listened to a lot of country music, and I remember my grandpa's record collection especially being a big deal, because you had to wait till he got home from work and, go through the whole thing of picking out the vinyl and cleaning it off and doing the whole deal. And I also watched a ton of TNN with my grandma. So really fell in love with the history of it and watching the Opry and things like that. So I don't remember a time I wasn't really in love with country music. And then I remember it must have been when I was around 4 years old, looking up the dating on this TV show, but I was watching Nashville Now with Ralph Emery, and Reba was on, and she sang Somebody Should Leave. And I was like, oh yeah, done.
Yep, that's it. Done deal.
Yep.
So from a young age then, I mean, when was the earliest you went on stage then and performed in front of people?
Well, my parents told me that they took me out to dinner one night when I was about 3, and when they weren't looking, I snuck up on stage with an older blues singer that was up there and tried to steal the mic. So I guess, but I did, all the school productions and things, and I was taking piano since I was 5, so did recitals and things like that. And I would say that when I was 13, well, I guess that's when I started taking guitar lessons. And then when I was 16, I did my first real show. I played for my school talent show and booked my first gig at a local restaurant. So.
And what was the sort of light bulb moment where you said, I've got to go to Nashville? I mean, how long ago was that?
My guitar teacher when I was 13, he was a guy named Terry Holmes in Arkansas, and he was amazing. And he had played with folks like Emmylou Harris and Chet Atkins. And he was the first person who told me that when I was trying to bring in my songs and try to figure out how to get, the sounds that I was hearing out, he was like, people do this for a living. They write songs, they have careers in Nashville. And so I think that really hit me, his encouragement to go to Nashville and do that. And then also I got to go to Fanfare when I was 16, and Oh my God. I was that kid. I had all of my songs that I'd written in a Trapper Keeper organized, and I carried them in a backpack all around fanfare just in case I found somebody who might need a song. Um, and got to meet some amazing folks like Bill Anderson. And
You've wrote for Bill Anderson, though. He's sang one of your songs as well.
he really
Whispering
does.
Bill Anderson.
Mm-hmm.
I'm hoping to get him on the show, to be honest with you, because his publicist has worked with me before, brought likes of the Bellamy brothers and people like that onto the show. So I'm hoping, fingers crossed, I'm going to get Bill to come onto the show soon. So he's a great guy. No, he's brilliant. And but yeah, I mean, I'm a massive fan of Terry Clark. You mentioned Terry Clark, but she's cut something as well?
She has. She's cut 7 of my songs. I've written several of those with her.
Wow.
She was one of the first people to cut one of my songs, and then later on I've connected with her and started writing with her and doing this. And honestly, she was a really huge influence on me, kind of being able to get myself together and start releasing my own albums again, because I kind of went through a period of time. I think, everybody does that in life in general, but in the music industry, you have a lot of highs and a lot of lows. And kind of went through one of those and ended up writing with Terry some, and she loved what we were writing and wanted to put on records. And I was like, I was such a huge fan of hers growing up, had all her records. She likes my stuff well enough to do this. I got to get myself together. I got to put out these records. And so I really, really appreciate her doing that. And also her friendship. She's
she's really good. And I mean, I have reached out to her people to try and get her on, to be honest, because like I said, I am an absolute huge fan. And I think it was, trying to calculate now, it might be 17 or 18 years ago, last time I was in Orlando, and they had a music festival called Plant City, and it was a strawberry festival. Have you heard of this?
I haven't.
Right. It's based about 30, well, it's between Tampa and Orlando, and it's where the Mexican farmers, the strawberry farmers, and they put on a big show. And there's a college bowl kind of stadium in the middle, and they put all the fairground around it. And I said to my 2 daughters, right, for about 10, 11 days, it's Disney, it's Universal. But I said, I want to go to this. So we got tickets, and the heavens opened. I've never seen rain like it in my life. So picture this. There's a quarter of the stadium left. Everybody else has gone for shelter. I'm on a deck chair in front of this stage waiting for Terry. And the water's above my ankles. My family's gone for shelter. I'm just there going, I'm not going anywhere. I've come thousands of miles. I want to see Terry. And she came out and did an amazing, so got a signed, album and stuff like that. But what a show, and a great trooper. I mean, I was sneezing for a week after that, but it was a brilliant show, And I know she's been to England a few times and sang since then, but no, I'm a huge fan. But also, you one of a great friend of mine actually over this last year, again through talking to the show, but we became very, very good friends. Jeannie Seeley.
Oh yes.
Man. Who doesn't? I mean, sorry, what was that?
You just had a birthday.
Yes, she did. Was it yesterday or the day before? Yep. Yesterday. Sent out some good wishes, and she's ever so graceful. She's been on the show twice now, and her publicist has been an absolute dream. Bev has been an absolute dream for the show and that. And but Jeannie, she said, next time you come, you've got to come to the house. I think she lives near Dollywood or somewhere, and she said, you've got to come to the house. We'll have a cup of tea. And I said, oh, brilliant, But she's such a trooper, amazing artist. And I looked at your bio and I thought, she sang one of her songs, way.
A huge trailblazer too, man. First one to ever host a segment on the Opry.
Exactly, yes. And I've never heard anybody say a bad word about her, which is, in today's, circles, there's always somebody who might have a little bit of angst against somebody or whatever. No, never. She'd probably hit them if she hit them. But looking at this Campfire project, so you were telling me just before we went on air that obviously that's like a GoFundMe page to fund the next project. So tell us a bit more about the next, chapter in your life on music.
I'm really, really excited. I'm putting out a brand new single July 16th. Or focus track, whatever they call it these days. But new music from me that I wrote and sang. And I wrote it with Ben Chapman, who's another great new artist, writer. I mean, I guess he's not really new because he's been doing it his life, but I guess I'm getting to that age where everybody's a kid now. But
I mean, how long? Sorry, just before you go on. I mean, I talk about this to a lot of the artists, where you look at somebody's career and it's like an iceberg, where people just see the top of the iceberg. We're underwater. There's years and years and years of growth, and then people say, "Oh, I've never heard of them. They must be new." Well, they've actually been around 10, 15, 20 years. You know, has that been like that for you? You paid your dues.
This is my 21st year in Nashville.
How many years? Sorry.
21st.
You don't look old enough.
Thank you. God knew it would take a lot of time for me to get my act together. So.
I was going to say, I've got a PayPal account if you want to pay. That's absolutely fine. But no, sorry, I interrupted you. So the new project got a new single out on the 16th.
Yeah, and Ben and I wrote it together. I actually got the idea from a shirt I saw out at a festival I was playing in Kansas. And it said, "I'd rather be somebody's shot of whiskey than everybody's cup of tea." And I thought, that's me right there. I got to write that. I carried it around for a long time, and finally, threw it out to him, and he got it, and we started playing. And I just love everything that he does too. And he kind of started playing like kind of a Waylon-y type vibe, and I love like old school honky tonk Emmylou Harris. Yeah. And kind of brought them together, and I just think it's a cool song about. The older I get, the more it just means to me to be able to be myself and do the music I love and not have to worry about trying to pretend to be somebody else or fit in a box or anything like that. You know, I've been through a lot of different iterations, I guess, here in Nashville. I was on a label for a big label for a little while and stuff. And I don't know. I don't want to have to chase the root, the passion of what I do. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You're always working, you're always chasing the next thing, working on that. But I just want to do music that I absolutely 100% love. And this is one of those songs. And I actually got to play guitar on this and produced it, put it together a little bit different. I've got some awesome musicians on it. My buddies, Janae Fleener and Megan Jane, Rachel Loy, and Justin Shipper on steel. So I'm excited about it. We got a new video that we just finished that we fan sourced some video from friends, family, and family to do. And I think it makes it extra special. I'm really excited about it.
And when's that being released?
Hopefully it'll come out the same day as the single. We're finalizing some stuff right now. I got to get, there's always this technology stuff, so I got to get a different formatting put on it.
But it's brilliant. Again, I'm hearing this a lot more where people have done certainly this last month, 5 weeks, artists coming on and saying the big labels, there's a conveyor belt and you've got to conform. I mean, one of the great things that artists say about England is we're not really bothered about the charts. We like the album stuff. I mean, Toby Keith came and did a concert way back, and I was near the front, and he was like, "Oh, you want Cabo San Lucas?" He said, "We never really sing this," but everybody else loved it, and it was off an album cut. And we're saying, well, yeah, you might have a number one with this, which is great, but we like this, and I think we're a bit more rounded than, and I certainly, when I'm speaking to artists, I'm not going, high-fiving people and going, right, oh, yeah, you've got a number one, great hit, which is fine. But let's talk about the others that are still equally as good. But, we're not really into the commercialism of radio and you're having to play the number one all the time, every hour. We want to talk a lot more about, the substance of some of the other songs as well, which, as I say, for the grace of God, would have been a number one. It's just that they're on an album,
Sure. And I love that. And I love that approach. I love the audiences there. I got to come play for the first time in the UK, in England, in 2019. And I hope I get to come back soon. It was so
Where was
cool.
that at? Where was that?
I played all over, little mini tour, which I'd have to open my brain up with some more coffee right now to spit off all the dates. But it's been about 10 days over there with my friend Kayla Ray playing shows, and it was incredible. We played the Green Note in London at the first, and it sold out. And I was and people were singing all the songs and stuff, and I was just like taken back by how, like, I'm just making my way out there. So to get to go all the way across the ocean to another country and sell out a club and have people singing my songs back to me, that's really special.
Yeah, I always remember when Martina McBride supported Garth in 93 or 94 in Birmingham, and people were singing Independence Day with her, and she just stood there crying. It was like, must be an amazing feeling when somebody's actually singing and you don't know, like you say, thousands. And in them days, there weren't even like Spotify's and iTunes, and you had to order a CD from America and wait about 5 weeks for it to come, or by carrier pigeon. But that's great, because like I said, we have this really big event, which is like CMAs, really. It's the country to country in March. Have you heard of that yet?
Yeah, I'd love to get to do that one of these days.
Yeah, because there's a great songwriters round there as well. And there's like a little community during the day, and it's just phenomenal. I think, fingers crossed, it's going to be on next year. But yeah, it was going bigger and bigger and bigger, obviously until the pandemic. But yeah, we've got loads and loads of things over here. I mean, it's starting to. I think America's a little bit ahead of us, but it's starting to generate now. The lockdown's easing as we go along every other week now. It's going more and more and more. And I'm a singer myself for about 20 years, and I've actually done 2 shows, which is phenomenal. I haven't done anything since October. It's like, oh my God. It's brilliant.
When you get back in front of real people and.
Yeah, rusty, very rusty. I had to boot some.
Sorry.
I was rusty. Yeah, I was a little bit rusty, but booked some rehearsal rooms, tried my equipment out, my PA, my guitar strings, my fingers are hurting, but it went well. But one of the questions I always ask my guests is about Mount Rushmore. And Mount Rushmore, as you know, you got your 4 legends, of history in America being chiseled into the rock. But if you could actually change them with people that's inspired you all the way through, whether it's family, musician-wise, friend-wise, music teacher-wise, who would that be? Who would the 4 be you'd replace it with?
Oh, man. Well, that's a really tough question. I might have to think about that to narrow it down to 4. I've been lucky enough to really have.
Well, you've got the chisel. So if you want 5 and 6, I mean, Darryl Worley was on the show, and he did about 7. I think he was just chiseling away, So if the rock shows.
Yeah, I mean, my grandparents, my mom drove me to 1,000 different music lessons and shows. My guitar teacher, I went to boarding school in high school and had some awesome teachers. We had a class called Folk Music and Acoustics.
Wow.
Which was incredible. And my buddy Jared, who helped me play my first time out in front of people, really playing my music and helping me record my first CD. In Nashville, I mean, I went to Middle Tennessee State University and had some awesome professors there. Jeff Carlton, Reese Fall, my first publishers. And music-wise, Jim Moose Brown, Jamie Johnson. Jamie Johnson co-produced my last 2 records that I put out, and has been kind enough to have me out on tours some. Willie Nelson put me on my first big tour with Willie and Jamie Johnson.
Wow.
And Reba is a huge influence on me. Matresa Berg, Terry Clark, Mary Chapin Carpenter, Emmylou Harris, Dolly Parton, Loretta Lynn, Susie Boggess, man, is incredible, and I listen to her.
She's my favorite. She's my favorite, Susie. Yep.
And she was the first person really to help me out when I came to town, and let me pick her brain about things.
She's amazing. I mean, I've fingers crossed. I've had her management come back and said she's interested in coming on the show. I'll be like fanboy You know, I have to be very professional. But I had the pleasure of going to a concert with Susie, Patricia Berg, and yeah, and Wine, Women, and Song. They classed it as. Have you been to one of those where they're just drinking? They're drinking wine in between the song, and it's one of those, you know. And at the end, it was signing all CDs and stuff. And I said, "There you are, Susie," and they said, like to Paul and whatever. And I was just in awe. And I'm walking away, and next minute she shouted at me. She said, "Hey, Paul." I went, "Oh, what, Susie?" She said, "You left your CD." I went, "Oh, okay." But I know she came to England a couple of years, I think it was 2019 at the Long Road Festival, but I couldn't make it. But, you know, like I said, huge fan. But like I said, you one of the key elements I'm hearing from all the artists is having people around you and friends around you, and, you know, the music industry, good people all around you to make that success, because you can't do it on your own. And it sounds to me as though, like I said, you've gone, as soon as you come into town, Susie Boggart give you, you know, advice, you know, all them, you know, Terry Clark, and obviously your musicians that are with you all the time. And then, you know, that is important, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I have a lot of great friends too that are fellow musicians, kind of doing what I'm doing out there. And I think it's awesome in the indie world. We all work together, you know, and
yeah.
I mean, I'll sometimes I feel like we have like a self-help group for
you know, need it.
Artists, and it's really great to be able to run ideas by each other. And you know, Sunny Sweeney's been she's been a great friend of mine for about, I don't know, a decade, 15 years. But she's also been amazing. She helped me get on at my booking company that I'm at now. And she's always, if I send her something, just bugging her about merch questions or this or that, she's always awesome to help me untangle my brain. Well,
it's been an absolute pleasure, and I wish you all the success that is coming your way with the new stuff. I mean, the brilliant songs, and like I said, I can't wait to listen to more from yourself, Erin, as well. And before we finish, before I forget, a very good friend of mine and one of the people who runs one of the radio shows that I'm part of at Move is Gene Webb. You must know, because Jean's actually said to me, "You've got to get Erin on the radio." I said, "Right, okay." So she pushed me to find you. And awesome. Yeah, so she said to say hi.
Well, tell her hello. I love her.
I've known Jean for years. She's brilliant.
Like, I can play for her again sometime.
Yeah, definitely. Have you? Did she come and see you over in Nashville? Because I know she's been to Nashville a few times.
Yes, I believe we connected there, but she also booked me for a show out there
in Blackpool.
Yep.
I've played there many times. You know, so I didn't realize that. Oh, right, because I mean, I did a couple of tours with James House a couple of years ago. I'm very good friends with James and all, and we did about 19 dates, but we did Jean's as well, and, you know, supported and did the sound and all that kind of thing. And we had a blast. But yeah, Jean's, you know, an awesome lady.
Loved it. It was just what I needed that day too. Actually, that show, that morning, my first publisher, Reese Paul, had passed away here.
Oh.
Be surrounded by, they were just amazing people, and they're letting us do our square dances, even though I have 2 left feet. And they just made it so fun and awesome. And it just, it's definitely a memory that stands out for me.
One of my, just to finish off, sorry, one of my lasting memories of that place is we did a Christmas show, and they said, "We've got a spare costume for you." So my second set, I came on as, I'm 6'2", a 6'2" elf. You know, the tights and the big ears and all that. But there was a big queue coming out the kitchen, because if you're on the stage, the kitchen was to the left. There's a big queue coming out with people holding mugs, and then people coming out of the kitchen with really red faces. I'm going, "What's going on here?" And they said, "It's hot chocolate." So I went, "Oh," because it's winter, it was snowing outside, with about half a cup of brandy in it, in each one. And you know the people who would go there. So it was like, chaos. But as I said, thank you so much for spending a bit of time. I know you're hugely busy, and as I said, we wish you every success with your new music coming forward. And I can't wait to hear it over here in the UK, and we'll be playing it as much as we possibly can.
Thank you. And thank you so much for having me.
Oh, you're more than welcome. You take care. Enjoy the rest of your day.
Thanks, you too.
It's a blue ribbon morning after a black label night. Well, I got kinda out of hand 'cause I was wound up a little too tight. But Jesus still loves me, even when I do the devil's ways. I'm just a honky-tonk angel with a little bit of hell to pay. I'd rather be somebody's shot of whiskey, somebody's rough around the edge. At least I can sleep well tonight, 'cause I stand behind the words I said. Can't make everybody happy, that's alright by me, as long as my baby loves me all the way from A to Z. I'd rather be somebody's shot of whiskey than everybody's cup of tea. All my life I've been told I'm cut from a different cloth. And if I tried to hide it, it'd all come out in the wash. If I'm a little left to sing, well, I really don't give a damn, 'cause I got all the friends I need that take me just the way I am. I'd rather be somebody's shot of whiskey, somebody's blue flame in the fire. Some are gonna see the rose, some are gonna see the bride. You can't make everybody happy, that's alright by me, as long as my baby loves me all the way from A to Z. I'd rather be somebody's shot of whiskey than everybody's cup of tea. Everybody happy, that's alright by me, as long as my baby loves me all the way from A to Z. I'd rather be somebody's shot of whiskey than everybody's cup of tea. I'd rather be somebody's shot of whiskey than everybody's cup of tea.